Okay, all good.
Great. All right. I'm going to call to order the BC Transit Board regular board meeting. The Metro Vancouver Transit Police Board respects the Indigenous nations within Metro Vancouver and acknowledges all First Nation, Inuit, and Métis people for their continued resilience, sustainable stewardship, and as active members of the community for generations to come. We recognize that in planning and managing the region's transportation system, we do have a role to play in supporting reconciliation with Indigenous peoples. Welcome, everyone. Nice to see you all. And we do have a couple of new board members appointed, so welcome, Josh. Andrea has also been appointed recently, and we've got Maureen back as well. So happy to see you. Welcome. First item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Does anyone want to pull anything from the consent?
Actually, just E and then just also H, just as kind of a governance piece.
E and H. All right. Compliment. Board and council. All right.
And because we're in the public session here, and this deals with the compliments report, which comes out on a regular basis, and I always find something of interest in this, but I think in particular, the one that I think it's important that kind of members of the public understand is an item that is listed here. We have two CSO members, Palmer and Fink, and the short story of it is someone who was an elderly person, I guess, ended up by going to a doctor's appointment not far from here, ended up by not being able to find their car. They were disoriented. I mean, we've all had problems trying to find a car in the parking lot. It was actually trying to Seinfeld. That was interesting. But something like this, I think, is so important because anytime I've ever talked to any police officer and why they got into to help people, something even as small as this is so important, and I think it's part of our brand of ensuring that they're there. It was a confused individual. The son had to get called to help out. It was probably terrifying for the person. It was 2 hours that she was looking for a car. She had a cane. I just think that's so important, and compliments to the chief and the team, and certainly the CSO people, for spending the time doing something like that. Because to me, that's kind of what this policing the moving city is all about, coming into contact with a variety of people. We always talk about vulnerable communities, but there's a vulnerable individual. And I just really want to say that's something that I think we need to celebrate with the CSOs and others for the work that they do, and that they just don't ignore it and walk by. So, good for them.
Yes, there's also a great compliment in there for parents legal program, which was really nice to see how important it was to their child, how excited they were about it. So, kudos to those that run that program. They do a really great job. All right, and the other one was...
it's just the new board, new board members and returning members and so on. And just from a governance chair point of view, I just wanted to thank the fellow directors and the chairs of the committees and Marnie and certainly the chief of staff for supporting the new members coming in and getting through the onboarding process, which I think is so vital for us to be a good board. But I'd also encourage the new board members to talk to all of us as chairs of committees and certainly you as the chair of the board about what we can do better. In terms of onboarding and the experience that you have, this past year we lost 3 board members end of term. We did exit interviews with all 3, Maureen at the time, and then obviously you're back, but the others. And we always can learn something from this. I think it's really vital for us as board members to have this open dialogue about just because we've done things a certain way doesn't mean that we have to do it always that way. There may be some new ideas, and everyone will be open to those discussions as we go forward. So, welcome to the new folks, but also our returning board members as well.
Yeah, and thank you, Chair. I also just want to add on H, and I know you welcome all new board directors, which is excellent, but I would also want to thank the appointment of Chair Larson and also Director Farmer for your continued commitment and contribution to the board. So much appreciated.
All right, anything else from the press? All right, can I get a motion to accept? Okay. Public delegations, anything to add? No? Oh, speeding right along. All right.
Thank you, Chair, Directors. Good morning, everyone. And perhaps a nice place to start with the Chief Officer's report. I'll be giving 4 updates, and it segues my first update nicely into the comments of the Directors being done by all personnel in the organization. And what I'd like to start with is just awards and recognition. So we recently, January 30th, had a ceremony. Many of the directors were in attendance, so I appreciate you doing so. And it's an invaluable opportunity to recognize the work being done within the organization. In the picture, we've got depicted everywhere from our sworn officers to our civilian professionals who are award winners, our CSOs and our volunteers as well from our community policing center. And always important in this recognition is of our retirees. So it was a wonderful opportunity to recognize them as well as others with service to the organization. Second update is just around extortion. So lots of media coverage in the Lower Mainland around extortions. And here at Transit Police, we continue to be involved in the task force. We're receiving regular updates from the province as well as other jurisdictional policing partners. It is a very concerning trend that's occurring, and it's important police work together with each other, but as well as the community. So we'll continue to update on that. The next is the Justice Institute of British Columbia. At the last public board meeting, we spoke about the importance of additional seats at the Justice Institute. Very pleased to announce there was an announcement from the Justice Institute around an increase in May of this year to 144 seats, 3 times a year. So as TransLink grows, we at Transit Police grow within the organization as well. So we look forward to those additional seats to be able to meet demands coming with the Broadway, Surrey Langley line. And before, I'll just kind of pause there as well, just in awards and recognition before I go to my final update. As part of that award ceremony today, but in creating history, tradition in the organization, we've also introduced, this was the second year we presented Police Officer of the Year and Civilian Professional of the Year. So those 2 individuals, Kresh Aja, is not able to be here, but he comes from a strong operational but investigative background. He was also a union president here, very deserving of this award, and a 10-year member of Transit Police. So I just want to recognize his achievement there. And secondly, Civilian Professionals of the Year. So everything, that happens in this organization, our civilian professionals are integral to our organization, how we move forward. So Dan Pedro, so he, in our information management section, has just been instrumental in moving us forward in so many different areas, and working with, external partners like BC Prosecution Service. But really, he's become a subject matter expert, and so many organizations lean in to him for his expertise, including us here at Transit Police. So just wanted to pause to recognize Kresh and Dan on those deserving awards, and again to all our recipients shown earlier. The final point I'll stop on is FIFA. So hard to believe, 124 days to FIFA. And preparation's been long in the making towards this event. We were able to provide a joint presentation with TransLink and the TransLink board, just sharing. There's lots of inoperability happening within TransLink itself, and of course Transit Police working together with our policing partners through the Lower Mainland and police services as well. So with that, we'll turn it over to our Deputy of Operations, Randy Fitcham, who will give a little bit of update on FIFA and a number of other initiatives. and that will be followed by Deputy Graham giving updates on our administrative end of the house. So over to you, Randy. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. We will be doing a fairly comprehensive overview and presentation on FIFA for the April 24th board meeting, so I'll give you a snapshot of where we're at right now. I'd like to recognize Inspector Jeff Connor for his work with FIFA. So just down to my right, down the far end there, Jeff's leading a lot of this work that's happening with police agencies. So a lot of our focus right now, you could break it into two different realms. One is the planning side within transit police, how we are going to deploy our highly trained resources across the system. And then the second half of that is interoperability between police agencies, City of Vancouver, government, health services, a variety of partners, and then how we're all going to work together. And that involves command and control, making sure that we're all on the same page, and as well within transit, within the enterprise partners, how we're all going to deliver a secure system across the region. When we're looking now at primary venues, you have game venues, and you have fan fest venues, and you have the airport that's a big concern for us. Plus, we have a lot of other municipalities stepping up to host FIFA-sanctioned and non-FIFA related events for viewing parties that are all going to focus on transit. So it's status quo for public transportation throughout the summer. People are still going to work, still going on cruises, still enjoying life in the City of Vancouver, which is very busy. And then we're adding FIFA on top of that, so to make sure that our regular users have an enjoyable experience, and plus, our newcomers for FIFA have a very strong experience. A lot of this is coordinated through the province of British Columbia. So on the policing side, the Integrated Safety and Security Unit, which is a mix between Transit Police, Vancouver Police, and the RCMP. So we're very coordinated on that front. That is overseen by the province of British Columbia. They're looking at how we all work together. The funding model is working with the province and the City of Vancouver to ensure that we're meeting all of our obligations for FIFA as we go forward. And as I mentioned, we look forward to Jeff and his team coming in April and giving a very thorough presentation on that. So more updates to come, but we're excited. We will be ready, but there's a lot of work to do between now and then. So kudos to Jeff and his team. Some more work that Inspector Khan has been working on. So high visibility patrols for us too this last quarter were very important. Focusing on areas that traditionally we haven't had the ability to deploy officers. So looking at bus loops and some of those high impact areas, not specific to SkyTrain, but again, focusing on our other responsibilities, which is Ghost Mountain Bus Company, looking after the safety of riders, looking after the safety of transit operators. So looking at Langley, Maple Ridge, and just focusing on street disorder and crime in those areas and make it a better experience for our ridership. In the fall, again, we tend to, in Christmas, see an increase in retail theft across the region. We do have individuals that will use the transit system to transit to and away from malls and retail establishments where they're committing very high-end retail theft, very coordinated how they're stealing the goods and how they're selling the goods to the public. So that was a focus for frontline members through December. Whether it's Richmond or Vancouver or Langley, focus on the transit system, and our members are out there engaging in that. I'd also like to recognize Inspector Steve Meaden with his investigative team. A lot of ongoing investigations, very complex investigations right now, using major case management principles to use very unique investigative techniques to solve crime on the system. Recently, we tend to have a series of sexual assaults where we, thanks to Inspector Meaden's team and our criminal intelligence unit, we can analyze information and potentially connect offenders to the same offenses. So we have one offender that's been connected to 3 different incidents. One was at Surrey Central, one was at King George, one was at New Westminster. We're happy to report we're making great progress in that investigation, so we'll be able to update further on that one. And then an additional one is an individual who was charged with 2 counts of sexual assault from a file from 2025 from the Scottsdale Bus Exchange in Surrey, where a female youth was unfortunately victimized, and Steve's team made great progress to put charges through on that one, request charges on that one. Our crime suppression team, so this is our investigative team that does a mix of uniform, plainclothes work in community, focusing on drug use, focusing on violence, focusing on weapons in community, in and around the transit system. A number of projects happening in Surrey, so Surrey Central remains a focus for us. It's one of our busiest stations. Lots of growth around that community, lots of challenges within that community. So focusing on the area, working on street disorder, focusing on certain individuals that are being tracked through our analysts. And this one is thankful for this one. We actually are able to receive funding through the province through special applications outside of traditional funding through a budget. So we have now through the provincial government, we have special funding for investigations, we have funding for repeat property crime offenders, And then we have street disorder funding that we can apply for. So Steve and his team is very successful in getting that money to move that forward. So it's been great to see. So lots of work going on there. And like I mentioned, our crime analysts engaging with files within transit police and engaging on files with our partner agencies. And if you ever have a time for the board to drop by and see that, all the work they're doing to map out youth, to map out adult offenders and put cases together, top notch with the work that they're doing and then connecting with our partners. Inspector Bruce Hamilton down on the far end there. So Inspector Hamilton is in charge of our community engagement team. A lot happening with engagement with the community with us. In the fall of last year, our Indigenous liaison officer, as well as additional officers, went out to the National Indigenous Veterans Day to support our Indigenous veterans. So it was great to see them out there for that. In this reporting period as well, our mental health liaison officer remains very busy connecting with community. Ronnie's always out there engaging, always out there in the street, always out there to provide support and refer people to resources. And this officer is now built inroads with Wounded Warriors Canada, so to create more awareness of how we can support our membership and how we can support the public as well. So lots of work going on that space. Blue Eagles Community Cadets, so a busy fall as we went into the holiday season. We had a holiday celebration in both the City of Vancouver and Surrey, and a number of them actually came out for that, and a number of the officers here went out there and served a turkey dinner and managed to, were there to engage with the kids. It was great to see. On the Vancouver side, in partnership with the Vancouver Police Department, on the Surrey side, in partnership with Surrey Police Service and the RCMP, so everybody was out there celebrating with the kids. And we're in full rollout with our community cadets throughout the year now, Wednesdays and Thursday nights, and then we just had a weekend event with the kids as well. Great to see that program running. Recently, we had some of our officers do a presentation to our Cantonese seniors at a neighborhood house in Vancouver. The reason why I'm highlighting this is a lot of work that Bruce and his team do are looking for unique ways to engage with community, some of our very diverse community. And just a note on that one, our officers speak 26 different languages, so they have the ability and they have the motivation to build inroads with the community where they can and engage with these groups, which is fantastic. Youth liaison officer, so very busy with the school year in. Our youth liaison officer is there both in schools and various community programs, and as well as other groups within community that host different events or different tables supporting youth and community, various group homes, and then our youth liaison officer is very connected with other police agencies as they share information on youth on the system that need support. Again, with our K9 units, we're very happy to celebrate that our K9 unit just achieved their certification for Vapercent. What this allows our K9 unit to do is actually work in and amongst crowds and have our dogs potentially alert to something of note or concern to us within a crowd environment, and then we have resources in place to deal with those events. This is very important to us with FIFA coming up. And just of note, so our K9 team is the first team in Canada to achieve this certification. So a very, very proud achievement for our K9 officers under Inspector Hamilton's leadership. Our CSO program, we're currently in the middle of our implementation, so we had a third party come in, review best practices for our CSO program and work with us how we're going to expand that program. Of course, receive support from the board to solidify that program hopefully in the future, but how we can best achieve our goals with that CS program, identify what those are. Our communication center, so our operations communication center is up to full staff, which is fantastic to see. So really good work going on there. And then the last thing I'll report on is our targeted mobile enforcement team. So these are our members that focus on fare enforcement, focus on various traffic-related matters, on bus lanes and so forth. And a very busy holiday season for them, working on Light Up the Province, taking over 200 impaired drivers off the road in partnership with our policing partners. So that was great to see. And then working with our TransLink partners and TransLink Security, working on fare enforcement on the system. Just to show you the prevalence of the need for fare enforcement, over a 2-hour period, our TMAT members working with our community safety officers and transit security issued over 117 violation tickets for fare enforcement at one station. So it's a very busy time frame. And that's all I have, and I'll
just pause. I just want to really amplify again 3 kind of key messages in there. And it goes to the, I think, the compliments report, but just the work that's being done out there every day, and also the evolution in different ways within transit police, moving forward different projects, the vapor detection, you know, for example, you know, the projects are being done with different agencies, and that really speaks. Secondly, the multi-jurisdictional nature of transit police is the only dedicated police transit agency in Canada, and I think these examples really highlight that important work and highlight our members. And third, just a recognition for the province of British Columbia and Police Services branch for that essential funding that really does allow for these targeted projects that really have an impact on crime and disorder in and around the transit system. Of note, in recent, you know, CBC covered some articles about transit crime that was occurring throughout Canada, and of note for all the transit agencies saw an increase of crime, and here in the Lower Mainland, we were the only area that actually saw a decrease in crime occurring. So in part, that's to do to the good work out there every day, and dangerous work at times. So with that, I'll turn it over to Deputy Bryce Graham.
Thanks, Chief. I know we have the information in our package. I'm just going to highlight on a few items. So I've got Inspector Marty Hurst here to my left. One of the things he looks after is our facilities. Two projects I just want to touch on. We're just wrapping up our first phase of renovation at the Bridgeport office, which will get us ready for the Broadway opening. That project is coming in under budget, so kind of good news story. Even though it was a little delayed, we'll be returning a significant amount of funds to the capital program. The other one I want to touch on is that we have a Brentwood sub-office that'll be front-facing to the public, and we expect that the completion of that one in it opening by the end of this month. So two good news on facilities. Directly across from me is Inspector Troy Henians. He looks after our training and recruiting. Just want to touch bases. Very, very busy group, always kind of full speed going ahead. We hired 7 more CSOs, currently a little over strength on CSOs, knowing that. So we have a class running that started in December. We also had 7 police recruits that went to the JI in January. Back on the heels of that, we'll be running another CSO class here coming up in March and preparing for our May class. Finally, the last thing I want to touch on is, I know that we've spoken, you're aware of it, but we brought on a new IT director. A very important position for us moving forward here, looking at to really amplify some of our data analytics moving forward, as well as our IT modernization.
Thank you very much, and again, not enough to be said. Those are just some of the higher updates, but a lot of work happening in that area. Welcome. Any questions?
Two things. One was the accommodation and the award ceremony, which was really nice to see, and I think one of the good things was combining some of the civilian former officers side. You just mentioned the new IT director which is coming in. It's good to see somebody like that coming in who then is exposed to what the organization does, but also building the culture. I think one of the things that's often unsaid is the amount of work that was done, which was really highlighted with the deployment of the Oxalo.
Yeah.
In a couple of different sites, where literally one of the groups that was recognized, I think, say, London Station. I mean, those are lives that were saved just because there were officers there that knew what they were doing and could intervene and help out. So that was really good to see. And I hope we can build upon that in the future and make it even a bigger event, and through Stephen and so on, to be able to publicize it. I think it's a recruitment piece when you show you got good culture in any organization. So that was one. Question I've got is in and around the recruitment side ongoing, and you mentioned JI. Just as a board, could you tell us, are you feeling that your chiefs, your fellow chiefs are feeling there's a strategy there with the provincial government to be able to support this? Because I just noticed in the news, Calgary now is saying they need 660 members in the next 4 years. That's just one other agency outside of Metro Vancouver, but they also said they're coming to Vancouver to recruit. They said the time's ended where we should be stealing from each other. We need to develop more. It doesn't seem, in my opinion, that the province really has addressed that to the full extent. And just wondering, from a chief's point of view, is there a strategy? it just seems like it's Band-Aid, let's put some money in it. Where is this all going? I think this is key to us over the next 5 years.
Yeah, so comment and then I'll respond to your question directly. And just going back to the award ceremony, want to recognize Stephen Crosby, Director of Strategic Services, you and your team pulling that together. What I wanted to add in there is we also have an award ceremony for civilians and citizens who do extraordinary things in difficult circumstances. We'll have that ceremony later, but we're looking to combine those as we move forward. So I just wanted to sort of note that as well. To the question specific to the Justice Institute, there is a working group of chief officers. I am part of those discussions with the province. The province, is committed, recognizes the need for requirement. As indicated, we're very pleased with the announcement around the increased capacity of the Justice Institute. We're still waiting. The province has an independent committee reviewing potential satellite, agencies hosting. So there was 3 applicants that put their names forward for that: Vancouver Police, Surrey Police Service, and Victoria Police Department. So they're still conducting that review, and we should hear that announcement. But again, the increase in the Justice Institute has, dealt with part of that concern.
I think we as a board should continue to support the efforts. We know money's tough. There's going to be a new budget coming out. There's going to be more constraints. And yet, public safety is kind of at the top of everybody's list these days. And if we continue to cannibalize each other's organizations by recruiting, it doesn't get us very far. That's why I'm hopeful that rather than a kind of short-term thinking around funding from year to year and adding an extra few seats here and there, can work effectively amongst all of these boards, but also work in concert with provincial government, so that we are realizing that it's a limited number of people that we can bring in. We need to grow it, not just steal from other departments. And I mean, that's obvious, but nevertheless, it just doesn't seem to move things forward that much that I've seen in the last couple of years. So the pressure needs to be there, and the chair to support that and continue to thank the government to do certain things when they're doing it, but also continue to push through even their comments.
And I think, everybody, police officers, really trying to catch other people over. We'll keep police officers in place. So the atmosphere and safety cases together. And so police officers feel valued, they're getting proper training, guidance, and with good morale, people will think 2 or 3 times before they want to jump ship. And I can tell you, my previous time in the RCMP, I saw where the detachments were extremely healthy, and no one wanted to leave, and totally engagement from the top down. And I saw the detachments that I oversaw where there's a little bit of discord in it, and we had to go in and help the commander and the team build up that, the resiliency, but also that people know they're valued and they're cared for. And you know what, transit police has a compensation and benefits program, and we're in the negotiations. But people that are in healthy police agencies have a much better chance to keep those police officers that they train, put money in. So that's why it's key. So like I got to the former today, I was at yesterday, and I was also at the award ceremony. I would also love ceremonies in my career. But what I find is so unique here is the smaller police agencies, like you can see the care that's being taken by not just everyone, civilians, the police chief, everybody that all works together. And it was quite spectacular last week. And I was, and I don't get easily floored, but I just said, wow. And then I read the Informer, these people want to be engaged. They want to know what's going on, and there's different venues that we can use to keep everyone engaged with what's going on. And I really think it's for those two, you and your respective teams, not just the police chief and the sworn police officers, but everybody here, what's going on is making an impact. because everybody is trying to coach. And, people will leave if they're not, if they don't feel that they're valued and they're not, making a difference. So this is it.
I've got a quick comment here. Just want to, and I completely agree with what both of you said. And, you know, for some of the work that's done, whether it's Blue Eagles, and these are high school kids, so it remains to be seen what they blossom into. But, you know, building those relationships with Blue Eagles community cadets, and then coordinators within the program. We've seen 2 coordinators from that program now go into policing. So as we grow there and build that awareness and loyalty amongst very young kids, and the relationship with police, we have our volunteers who are traditionally working out of the waterfront of BC and will be across the system deploying in various areas. There's over 100 volunteers there that we're building that awareness and that loyalty within our organization, where we will see them come into a police enrolled with transit police. And then the work that the community safety officers are doing, building that loyalty. You know, we've had a very high number of them. We're coming up to almost half of them coming through and going into a police field, but a vast majority with us. So to your point, building that awareness, loyalty very early has been beneficial for us. And then with Deputy Graham and his recruiting team, monitoring all those processes, all those people, all the way through as they advance the organization, builds that relationship early to try and keep those people within our organization. It is a very unique market in policing across. People are leaving and going to different police agencies across Canada with the RCMP. So really challenging times, but the work that, you know, Inspector Hamilton's team's doing with engaging with people early, bringing them in as volunteers, Blue Eagles, and then ultimately through the CSO program, has paid great dividends for us for that very reason.
Any other comments, questions?
Very much. On to other business. So we do have to kind of solidify our committee membership here. So just to kind of let everyone know, there's three committees: People and Culture, Finance and Governance, and Community Engagement. So with new directors coming on, and we need to make sure all those committees are fully staffed. So we'll have a motion here to approve the following in effect for 2026 until the first board meeting of 2027. So we've got the reappointment of Director Patel as Chair of the Police and Culture Committee and Director Sweeney and Farmar members. The reappointment of Director Madden as Chair of the Governance and Community Engagement Committee and Directors Cook and Reamer as members there. The reappointment of Director Chan as Chair of the Finance Committee and Directors Madden and Myers as members, and the reappointment of Director Madden as Chair of the Ad Hoc Ecom Governance Review Committee and Director Myers as member. Motion to approve all of that. Great, thanks, George. Second. Excellent, thanks, everyone. I appreciate you all stepping up and taking roles on. All right, next order of business is the BCAPV Annual Conference, which is in Whistler this year, May 20th to 22nd. So we would like to have, you know, whatever directors actually want to go. It's nice that it is quite close. I've already seen interest from George and from Bill. They would like to attend, so that's great. If there's anybody else that would like to attend, what's our deadline, Taryn, to get registration? Early bird registration, whatever it is. Oh, okay. Okay, so.
Oh, sorry, it's the end of February for the early bird.
February. So if there's anybody else that wishes to attend, let Taryn know by the end of this month. And we can put a motion in place to approve whoever steps forward above Bill and George. And then the other item is we traditionally have sponsored something at the BCAPV. So there is some options. We've either done lunch or coffee break at these types of events. So the coffee break is sitting at $1,500, which is usually about where we spend. Does anyone have any comments, questions about that? Should we continue with that?
Just a comment is encourage all the board members to consider going. Last year it was out with Delta. It was a bit disjointed. I think that the committee learned from that, and I think this year might be a little bit different, but it is close. It's not all to the community where it's a little more difficult to get to. I think Bill went to Nelson a couple of years ago, and you know, that's challenging. But there's some really good discussion, and you meet fellow board members, and it's in and around all the things we've just discussed, the people and culture side of organizations, the challenges around recruiting and getting to know some of the governance issues and so on. This is the BC version.
Right.
So I'd encourage, if anybody has the time to be able to participate, it's a good one to go to, and you get to see some of the people. And invariably, they've got folks from the provincial government usually come and speak, or other agencies and so on. So it's a good learning experience. You come away with that. So I would move the sponsorship to subscribe learning. I think it's a small amount, but I think we need to participate and be visible and continue to support our organization. This is the police board. So it's us that's with our colleagues.
Yeah, and maybe if I can just echo Director Mann's comments and agree totally. The BC Association of Police Board is a volunteer organization, so they are always funding challenged. So if there's anything we can help them with, that would be great. There's no question when I participated that because we're amongst colleagues of other board directors and the police agencies, there's a really good sharing of ideas and thoughts, and instead of creating what I prefer a new mousetrap, the mousetrap is already there. I would support sponsorship.
So we'll do the motion that George and Bill are already on the list to go. Anyone else that wants to can let Aaron know right in a month, and that will do the coffee refreshment break sponsorship in the amount of $1,500. So George already raised that. Happy with that? All right, great. Next item is report from governance and community engagement. Over to you,
Sure,
George.
and you've got the minutes. I know we're pressed for time today generally. One thing I just again want to point out that every single meeting that we have of the Governance Community Engagement Committee, we always have on, as a standing item, reconciliation, and there's always a full conversation around some of the things that are happening in the community. Certainly, there's so much that's going on through senior leadership team and all the different parts of the organization that are working out there, which is not just Blue Eagle, but obviously some of the other things that are underway in schools, Indigenous youth partnerships that are underway, dealing with TransLink also, Jennifer and the team over there that have the Indigenous relations on a high-risk missing persons and so on. It's an ongoing piece, and working in a collaborative way. And so that's something that we continue to talk about. As was noted in the minutes, Stephen has a matrix, and at some point, maybe again also with the, what a surprise you have a matrix, but color-coded, tab. But I know that probably at an upcoming strategy session, we'll revisit some of these things going forward. And part of the refresh that we were doing with the strategic plan, we know that in the Indigenous and reconciliation piece is going to be an important element, both in consultation as we bring this forward, but also as part of the body of the work that we do ourselves. That's great.
Great. Any questions for Great. Still have the floor, George. You're going to talk about the ad hoc e-com.
Again, just in interest of time, the materials there, you all got the link to the report of what was happening with e-com. They're moving forward, and just, again, my understanding is that with the interim CEO, there is probably going to be some formal search process. The desire is to have it concluded by the AGM, which is in June this year, as opposed to dragging it out. I think that the directors over there are working hard to get that done. You'll see the numbers that come out every month for our new board members. You'll see that ECOM sends us an update on the performance metrics. And if you went back about a year and a half ago, it was pretty dramatic in terms of the improvements. And a lot of that has been around some reorganization with funding as well, and some different priorities, and also technology. I think that's another key. And that also then comes back into the work we do in our communications center as well. But I think they're on the right track. And then the final point, which is close to Bill's part, is the financial side, that they seem to be kind of organizing their budget process a little bit differently, that gives us a bit more cost certainty as we go forward for our planning, so that when we go to our funder at TransLink, that there isn't the surprise of an extra $300,000 asked because Econ hadn't planned properly for that. So those are the things that I think are going in a positive direction. We haven't had, Josh is going to be the member on this. We haven't had a meeting, obviously, and we won't probably for a couple of months until we find out what the next CEO is, or there's some other additional changes.
Right.
There's some other staff changes that are taking place there. But I think they're going in the right direction. I think we as a board, and I know you did before, Martin, acknowledge, and this was the recommendation that we had here, that there was progress being made and that we continue to support the efforts over there to ensure that we're being informed, we're participating, and that we're part of the things that are being talked about over the next short-term, medium-term, and long-term.
You have a recommendation here that we put a letter on?
That was 3.8, the way
Yeah.
it is written there, so I'd like to move that. That came out of the last meeting of the ad hoc committee.
Okay. So, yeah, so there's a recommendation that we send a letter to Econ and just put on file that we would like the open, transparent, and collaborative approach to work go forward.
Yeah, the motion specifically says that Metro Vancouver Transit Police requests Econ 911 engage in timely consultation with the 5 independent police board Class A shareholders regarding the development of its governance operational reforms proposal, and further that Econ adopt an open, transparent, collaborative approach to work on future fees, plus equitable cost arrangements for all shareholders and stakeholders. And this had happened also through Oscar, who's a part of the committee, just to make sure that we're on record, and we continue to push this because our representative sits on the Westminster Police Board, and I think we just need to make sure that we are getting information that will help us in decision-making at this board level. So that's the motion that's on the floor.
Okay. Any questions on it? All right, so second, Bill? All right, anything else before we close off regular? All right, next regular meeting of the Transit Police Board is April 24th, 2026.